Recipe notes for this authentic Roman Cacio e Pepe. We've got a classic Italian pasta recipe on our hands today, and I think this is one of the coolest recipes just ever in the history of the world. I love this stuff so much, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to share the classic version of this recipe. I do have kind of a riffed upon springtime version of Cacio e Pepe here on the website if you want to check it out, but for today we are just going to talk about the classic 3-ingredient Roman Cacio e Pepe. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with cacio e pepe, it translates from the Italian literally to cheese and pepper. Cacio is cheese, pepe equals pepper, and that's all that this dish is. It's amazing. It's just pasta, cheese, and pepper, and it's so cool what you can do with just 3 things when you really pay attention. Sorry, I'm outside. There's a bird above me. But yeah, when you just pay attention to how you wield these ingredients, it's incredible what you can create from them. But speaking of, and starting with the pasta itself, this is my own little tweak to the classic. I love to roast my pasta in the oven dry before I ever boil it, because you look at it, you can see how nutty and dark it is. It adds a whole layer of flavor to the dish without actually having to add another ingredient. It's awesome. I love to do it, but honestly, it's totally optional. It's not authentic. It's just something I like to do. So you can leave it out if you like. All right, on to the cacio, the cheese. Classically, for this recipe, you're going to be using pecorino, which is a sheep's milk cheese. Pure pecorino is tough to find in the States, so you're probably going to be working with a pecorino romano, which is sort of a hybrid cow and sheep's milk cheese. It is delicious, kind of a hard, sort of salty cheese. Think Parmesan, Manchego. It's a lot like that. And because it's so salty, you don't have to add as much salt to the pasta water. Yeah, the pasta water is important in this recipe, and it's really interesting. We're actually going to be shallow boiling the noodles as opposed to putting a pot full of water on the stove and cooking the noodles in that. You just need as much water as it takes to sort of fully submerge the noodles, because that will give you a much starchier water at the end. And we're going to use that cooking liquid to help build our sauce. And the more starch, the creamier the sauce. Speaking of a creamy sauce, the way you grate the cheese also can contribute to a creamier bodied sauce. And as you see here, I have really grated my pecorino very finely. I use just the fine holes on my box grater, and that just helps the cheese melt into the starchy cooking liquid a lot more easily, and it'll help avoid some of the clumping that usually is going to occur. This is just a way to kind of mitigate that to a degree. All right, so my only other must-do suggestion for a classic cacio e pepe is all about how you use the peppercorns. This is the time to get out some black peppercorns and to break and bust them up yourself. It makes all the difference in the world. It's actually kind of amazing. And it's pretty easy. You don't need a special tool. You don't actually have to have a mortar and pestle to do this. I just throw my peppercorns on a sheet pan, and I use like a heavy-bottomed glass to just break them up. And they are so perfect and spicy when all is said and done in the sauce. Okay, I could honestly go on and on all day about how awesome I think this recipe is, but I think that's really the need-to-knows when it comes to a classic, perfect cacio e pepe. If you've got any questions, of course, as always, just reach out. You can shoot me an email, leave a comment here, or reach out to me via DM on Instagram. I'm over there every day at @mykitchenlittle. And with that,